And then I talked to the people there, and I met the leaders of the opposition parties. The two opposition parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, both in the opposition. And both leaders of both these political parties say that they are inspired by Ayn Rand, and that Ayn Rand is must-read for anybody who's interested in how the world works, and that she is an important intellectual figure in their world. Wow. Wow. This is Albania. And then we have this dinner at the end of this conference that I'm at, and they say, oh, we got to introduce you to the former president of Albania. Now, this isn't just any former president of Albania. This is the guy who fought the commies and was the first president of Albania, and then was prime minister for a very long time. Now, granted, there's a lot of accusations about his corruption and all kinds of stuff like that. But here's a guy who actually fought communism, actually helped Albania come out of communism, out of slavery. And he was the first president. And he comes up and he says, you know, I had two intellectual, motivators, intellectual people who inspired me in those years. He said one was Ronald Reagan, calling Soviet Union the evil empire and bring down this wall and all that stuff. I mean, it's well known, that Ronald Reagan had a profound impact on the spirit of the people in Eastern Europe to fight against the communism. And I think that's maybe his greatest achievement, is that he morally stood up against the Soviet Union and gave these people a backbone in some sense. They understood that the freest country in the world was supporting them, and there's enormous value in that. But then he said, second was Ayn Rand. And he said, I read Ayn Rand in the 80s, and it inspired me. It gave me the courage. It gave me the intellectual context for which to fight. For which to fight. And I've heard that in Poland. I've heard that in Ukraine. I've heard that in other countries around Eastern Europe. That in the 80s, people were actually, not a lot of people, but the people who count, the people who brought these countries into freedom, certainly in the Czech Republic, were reading Ayn Rand, influenced by Ayn Rand, inspired by Ayn Rand. And to some extent, to some possibly non-trivial extent, she had a role in bringing down the wall, in ending the communist regime that she fled from.